With Twitter, I mean, obviously the valuation is something that's impossible to get comfortable with and relative to other names out there. But the real problem with Twitter and why we've been short this stock pretty much off and on since they came public is because their user growth had massively slowed down. And what we finally see is them making moves between different features such as the instant timeline or while you were away. But more importantly, the search deal with Google that they went ahead and signed, where Google will be able to access all the tweets coming in, be able to show that when you do a search. We think that's going to really help get their monthly active users, which has been the big problem with this company. They only added 4 million users sequentially in the most recent quarter, for example. I think it'll really enable them to get that cranked up and moving in the right direction again, which is the biggest problem with the stock, because they've never missed revenue since they came public.
Right.
The problem has been, how big can this be? I mean,
so you go to the OPEC meeting in November, many people wanted an OPEC cut. A cut of production. What OPEC did was exactly what I would do if I were running the cartel, which is to try and force the market to fix itself. And what you do is you introduce volatility into the market. So therefore, alternative areas of demand, you try to reduce those alternatives. And also, you try and force people to cut the rig count to reduce their growth in supply. Since that time, we've seen the rig count in the U.S. has basically been cut in half from about 2,000 rigs to about 1,000. Mm-hmm. In the international rig count, which I actually find more important, we're seeing international spending down 15 to 20% this year. And with that kind of reduction, you are seeing the forced supply discipline, which should happen if the price goes from 100 to 50. And at the same time, demand has really picked up. U.S. demand is growing about 4% year to date. Gasoline demand growth year to date is the highest growth rate we've seen in the last 35 years. So you're seeing those natural supply demand forces play out, which ultimately makes us more constructive.
Next week, we're going to start looking at earnings. And I think what really is going to fuel this thing to keep moving is that earnings are going to come in way better than people think. The energy sector is going to be a dog, and everybody knows that. The rest of the market, I think, is going to look much better than people think. The dollar's run too much too fast, and it's already doing damage. And here's the problem: is that dollar strength, which we've had for since last June, it has a lagged effect. It takes companies a long time to change contracts and and hedges and stuff. And so if the dollar gets stronger, it really is bad for the whole economy, and it's taking a break. But look, do I think the U.S. economy is better than the rest of the world? And do we think we're going to have a strong dollar for the next 10 years? Absolutely, yes. Our demographics are better. Our banking system is better. If you look at the innovation that happens here in biotech and technology, there's no place, if you look at the global indices, there's no place in the world that has this kind of innovation. That said, you can't have your currency move 20% in 8 months and have it not be extremely disruptive.